Howdy everybody and welcome to what might be a very short episode or an episode that never happens. Someone dropped this off at the museum and it's in bad shape. Finish is hosed, we got pieces of trim missing, and it's been infested with rodents, and that's why I'm not getting my nose in it. I have had it sitting outside for a number of days in the sun. That usually kills whatever germs might be in the mouse shit. So I'm going to bring it up very, very slowly on my Variac. Initially I was just going to plug it in, but I was making myself nervous. I'll just turn that down. I really need something that gives me some sort of indicator as far as what my input is. Ugh. I don't see any pilot lights or anything. Then again, it's only up a few percentage points. We're up to 50%. I still don't see anything. And again, I don't want to stick my nose down in this stuff. It's disgusting. Ugh. Okay, I get a feeling that I did not actually engage the on-off switch. And this is all that feels like a switch. That's got to be tone or band. That's probably, there's two indentations here. That's on. You can hear it snapping. I think it was stuck. And the other two are tone. Probably like low, higher low or lower high. That's band. I don't care about that. All right, so let's try this again. Okay, we're on. And again, I don't see any pilot light, but the pilot light might be burned out. You never know. Ouch, I just cracked my knee. It appears to be dead, but then we got this big switch in the back here that someone's added. Maybe the switch is fucked on it. Let me turn this off. All right, let's try it this way now. Nope. No pilot light. Okay, we've got some pilot. All right, that was it. I'm going to turn it way the fuck down again. In fact, what I'm going to do is let it sit here just on very low current. Even though I'm pretty sure these electrolytics, they've got to be hosed in the worst kind of way. Okay, I got sound. Question is, did I have any volume? I didn't hear anything. Which one of you could be with smelling for nasty smells too? Okay. Let's try it again. I get a feeling it's just my electrolytics are completely gone. I'm going to keep it on the lowish voltage. Okay. Well, I'm assuming the electrolytics are shot. I do hear a buzz. Let's see. Well, I don't feel anything going on with the transformer. That's all I'm going to get today. I'm actually working on another project. I'm waiting for glue to dry. So I'll pick this up maybe in a few days. Okay, well, I'm not sure why I'm doing this. We have loads of radios now restored and ready for our next show. So I'm not too worried about having enough. And I feel like I just need to have a little bit of a distraction. I'm kind of not having a very good week right now. And so this will be the distraction, this big hunkin' radio. And it is right now almost 90 degrees in my garage, so it's hot. I don't want to have the fans going quite yet because, again, there's a bunch of mouse turds in this radio. And I sure as heck don't want to get hantavirus, and the best way to do it is by blowing stuff around. So I am going to put a respirator on. I'm going to take the chassis out and see how bad it is. I'm concerned that what I might find is the entire chassis full of rodent infestation. And if that's the case, forget it. Episode over. So, I don't know. Let's see. All right, well, I took it out of there, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Excuse me. So I've done an initial rub down of rubbing alcohol. You see what I did there? Anyway, it's hotter than hell out here, so I figured what I'm going to do is get some disinfectant. Yeah, good job spraying the tomatoes. Anyway, this will probably evaporate in no time since it's so freaking hot out here. I get the inside of the cabinet too. All I'm doing is just coating everything in disinfectant. There, everything's dead. I'll just wipe it off. Of course, it's never going to look perfect, but the key here is to make it less of a biohazard. Sorry, this is really sloppy filming, but you get my drift. Okay, and likewise, I'm going to wipe out the excess in the cabinet. Gross. Mouse urine. Now let's look underneath here. Not too bad, really. It's been worked on for sure. Someone's put a fuse in there. It's not the right kind of fuse. Looks like we're not mostly original. We've got a lot of replacement parts. Those electrolytics are probably from the 50s. And we've got some orange drops in here coming off the transformer. I wonder if that's the across the line caps. And we've got what looks like a piece of a coil here. I'm assuming that wrapped around there. That's a real shame. I hope that's not critical. All right. I might just mist this with a little disinfectant. I don't recommend you do this, by the way. This is just me being like desperate. Because, I mean, hantavirus is nasty. I know you guys in Europe probably have no clue what I'm talking about. But it's a pretty serious thing out in the western part of the United States. It's rare. It's usually deer mice that are up in the woods. It's not really a problem out here, but I don't know where this came from. Maybe it came from the mountains. All right, so I'm going to go inside. It's going to take a few minutes for that to dry out. Then we can do some initiating of investigation or something. This can go in the garbage. Yuck. All right, well, I'm waiting for the stuff to dry out there, and I definitely want to get it dry. I'm going to repair all the little mouse nibbles that are in the bottom of the cone. Very talented mouse. He managed to nibble off half of the surround. What I'm going to use is a clear, flexible glue and just fill that in. This is kind of a high build glue. Power grab. And I think it'll do a good job. You don't want to put anything stiff in there because then you won't have a surround and this won't move. Hence, it won't be pumping air to make the noise that you want. So I'm going to put this in there and then put it out in the sun because, like I said, it's hotter than the surface of the sun. So, is it pretty? No, it is certainly not pretty. Will it work? Well, it certainly will. Besides, once it's back in the cabinet, it's not like people are really going to see it that much. I might smooth these down where they squished in a little bit, but otherwise it's good to go. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. There's some stupid crap going on in here. real stupid. See, these are the bottoms of the original electrolytic capacitors. 1, 2, 3. See a problem here? Well, I certainly do, and the problem is that whoever did this back in the 1950s decided, oh, well, let's just leave the old original electrolytics in the circuit. We'll just tack weld the new replacements over the top. I've seen that more times than I care to admit, but just some people didn't understand the principle of when an electrolytic goes bad. It's not like it just takes itself out of circuit. No, indeed, they can come back alive, and they can also short circuit, and that can cause absolute mayhem. So we need to replace all 3 of these, and this will be easy because the chassis is itself ground. That's another thing, is that why did you have to do this in the first place? There's a ground right there. There's probably one around here as well. Let's see. We'll find out probably. Or you can use, sometimes I find there's little holes that are in the nuts that hold the electrolytics down. You can use that as your negative. But bottom line, these 1950s caps are probably hosed, and especially the ones that they were supposed to have replaced are definitely hosed. So we've got a lot of potential for absolute pandemonium. I don't see anything melting and oozing out of the bottom of the transformer, so there's no obvious signs of a thermal breakdown or a short in the windings. We have quite a few paper caps, and I hope they have their values on it. Otherwise, I can just look up the schematic. Nope, no schematic, so I'll have to start reading which goes where. But if the set's going to work, it'll probably work after replacing the electrolytics and doing some basic stuff. And by the way, since I sprayed this with disinfectant, it kind of has this nice floral scent to it. Alright, so I've replaced all those electrolytics and cleaned up a little stuff. I'm going to get out the Variac and bring the speaker back in. We're going to give it a test fire, see if anything comes of life on this thing. Starting with 0 on the Variac. Bring it up to just 50%. A little bit less concerned now that we've got just the bare basics replaced. Let's bring it up a little bit more. I just realized something. I've got no antenna attached to this, so it's probably not going to pick up anything. I'm just going to see if at least we get some sound out of that speaker. I don't see any filament on my rectifier. It's not even warm. Let me bring it up some more. There we go. Okay, we got volume. Alright, let me hook up an antenna. It acts like it might want to pick up something. We'll see. Try that again. I'm not sure what band that's on. Oh, there we go.
Angry and, angry with the world anyway. That never changed. But as an adult,
oh crap. Kind of surprised. It works. Just barely. I mean, it's mostly old components in there. We got a lot of crud around this tuning condenser, so we need to clean that up. In fact, I'm going to initiate the cleaning with a little WD-40 around the bearings. I'm going to start like really cleaning some of these contacts up. I'm guessing this must use some sort of pinch design for moving the dial. So that'll need to be cleaned up as well so that things will start to move a little easier. That's already better, much better actually. It was stopping right there, but it's not doing that now. It's very crunchy. We need to get some oil into those spots. And so now that the radio is not hopeless, I'm going to do a desperate cleanup of the cabinet to see just how bad it really is. Okay. I don't know what to expect. This finish is so roached, but I don't like refinishing stuff. I'm really bad at it, so I'm going to douse it with Old English and see if I can just at least make it look not like what it was, basically a rat-infested radio. No, I think I could make it look a little better, albeit beat up. But what the hell, man? It's like a 90-year-old radio. So I'm going to go over the whole thing with this stuff and see what it looks like afterwards. Alright, well, is it pretty? Not really. It's really wet. I soaked it and just absolutely deluged it with Old English. And eventually I'll wipe the excess off. It's just going to look like a beat-up old radio, and sometimes it's okay. There's even cigar/cigarette burns up here. I can imagine this was probably Uncle Harry's radio. It's like, shut up, kids! I'm trying to listen to the ball game. So I want to take this grill cloth out because that's not salvageable. I need to glue these back pieces on so that it's not. You see, we've got some veneer that's split here. I get a feeling I'm actually going to have to take something else off of here. That entire speaker panel's got to come out. It's held in with screws. Anyway, I cut out a new piece of grill cloth, and I'll glue it on here, and then it's going to be time to glue the cabinet bits back together. Welcome to day 2 of working on the Turd Infested Stromberg Carlson. Actually, it's Turd Infested no more. I went online to try to find a schematic, and I didn't find one. Instead, what I found is sometimes you know, there was not as much documentation. And so what I have here, and there's an alignment procedure, a wiring diagram, and a parts list that I blew up because I couldn't see what the parts were. That's good enough, I guess. So this is the front of the set. Got the front of the set, for example, I'm looking here. That's number 8 going to that volume pot, and number 8 says it's an electrolytic capacitor at 10 microfarads, 25 volts. So that means that it should be reasonably easy to figure out what everything is. For example, we got these two guys. Once I think, you know, there's only a few different values in here. 1/10 of a microfarad, 1/10 of a microfarad, 1/10 of a microfarad, 0.01, 01, 01, 02, 02, 02. It's only like 3 or 4 values in the whole thing. It's interesting. Here we have capacitor and gimmick. That means capacitor and a curled up piece of wire. So I don't think this will be that difficult. I mean, I could take a guess here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 caps that are about the same size. 5 actually. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 O2 rated caps. See if it has a part number next to it. Part number 25150. What is this? See if there's a part number here. 24402. 24402. Indeed, there are part numbers. So these two are the 1/10 of a microfarad caps. There's 3 of those. There's the third one right there. Let's see what this guy says. 25150. 25150. 25150. That's O2. Easy cheesy. Sounds like a 1950s G. Willikers sort of thing. I want to make sure that this fuse is actually going in line. It is. It's going in line to the power transformer off the incoming line. This cord is... it's hosed. It's getting nice and crispy. So that needs to be replaced, obviously. So this should not be that difficult. Now the other thing I'm going to do is add the oh-so-famous audio input feature to the set. It does have automatic gain control, so that tells me it's quite a bit newer. It's not acting like an RF set at all. And So let's get to it. Looks like this covered a lot of different models. 130R, 130B. I'm guessing it's probably the same chassis, but maybe some of these were in a smaller cabinet, bigger cabinet, maybe a record player combination, maybe even a small console. Who knows? Okay, feel free to flip through if you don't want to watch people watching. If you don't want to watch me replacing capacitors. Here it goes. Take a sip of my ginger ale. Let's get started. Let me look at the camera, make sure you can actually see what's going on. So this is kind of a repeat of what I've shown a few times, and this is especially useful for people who are just getting started, which is, what do you do when you're replacing capacitors? It's real easy with all this mess in here to lose your place. So what I tend to do is I'll cut one end of one side of the old capacitor lead, and then I leave just a little bit of the original lead so it's sticking out, so I have a point of reference. And then it's just a matter of getting my little needle nose pliers, and you want to make a physical connection and crimp it around that existing lead. Some people insist on removing the leads from the sockets. My issue with that is sometimes you can actually cause fatigue on the metal of the socket, and if you break something off by yanking things out or cutting it or removing it, then you're kind of going to be up shit creek without a paddle, unless you want to spend a lot of time replacing the socket. Now I can tell here there's a lot of goo that's on the original lead. So sometimes when you run into an issue like that, you got this nasty snot looking stuff. It's basically flux, and what that does is it cleans the surface. Don't need much. I've had that little jar for about 20 years. And you just come in here and like fluid in nicely. And you want to make sure that, I'm not sure if that did it. This is embarrassing. All right. No, it is not stuck. Sometimes what you can do is just like try to twist them together. You want to give more surface area for the things to adhere together. Let's try this again, see if I can get that to work. Otherwise, this little section, there we go. This little section might not air. Let's see if that's good and snug. Yeah, we're in good shape now. And then likewise, you want to come over to the other end here. It's actually going to chassis ground. Let's see if there's any grounds closer. Yeah, there's no sense in making it go over that side. There's probably some weird technical reason why they decided to not attach it here. But here's where it will be attached. So, tough cookies. So now we're going to, again, want to get your surface super hot and molten. I'm using a matte cal station and a matte cal wand. Yes, they are expensive. But as somebody who uses a soldering iron every day of the week, it's worth it. It uses induction, so it's much more effective. That did not stick. Boy, I tell you what, this episode is showing the world that I really don't know what I'm doing, and I've been tricking you all the time. Alright, come on now. Shouldn't be this difficult. I think, it doesn't help that this whole chassis was just filthified when I got it. Let's see if that sticks. Alright, come on. Yeah, that's on there real good now. So now we can clip this end off. So you get the idea. I could sit here and do this for like the next hour and a half, and you could go do more exciting things like watch paint dry. And I'm do the same for however many more are in here. I'm guesstimating there's about 10 to 15 left. And the more you replace of these guys, the better the quality is generally going to get as far as everything. Sound quality, sensitivity, performance, all that jazz. Because right now these guys are just completely leaky. In fact, I got a machine lately that tests capacitors that one of my friends gave me. I've tested the capacitors out of all the radios, last 5 radios, and I've not found one where the capacitors are even remotely close to being what they should be. So again, it's key to replace all these, even if the set works. Okay, I'm probably 2, 3. I'm about 60% done with replacing the caps. I haven't even tried it out yet. They usually say you should not shotgun a radio, but I'm going to do it anyway, so whatever. Okay, so it's recapped. And someone did something funny here. For some reason, this is actually the switch that turns the thing on. And this switch up here has been detached, even though I tried it and it works just fine. So I'm not sure why they did that. I'm sure I'll do some little investigation. But I want to make sure that it actually still works before I replace anything else, even though there's not much to replace. Let's fire it up here. Let's see, we got light camera action. Get the light out of the way. There.
With a realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. Their expertise, a realtor can suggest. President Trump is endorsing 2 House Democrats in New York, and they're
say that according to a federal judge, U.S. District Mostine reinstated an unenforced 20-week abortion ban with exceptions for.
He is gonna you up. Final scores for winners. There's a recurring pattern in the book of Judges.
Is it me or does it sound really strange?
Destruction, and as a result, they continually fall into the hands of their enemies. Truth for Life, Alistair Begg explains how on one occasion
proceeds from events include. Volunteer to start one and join Tunnel to Towers on its mission to do good and never forget.
Let me turn the plug around. It sounds like I've got a little bit of stuff going on with the audio.
Yonder fender bender, 'cause my ice cream truck is the way I make cash. So I'll buy you a ring when I lose distress rash.
owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but at least Progressive Commercial.
What could that possibly be? I think it's to make sure that we don't have anything that's loose in here. Seems like it's all right. Oh, looky here. Looky there. That came loose. Well, I'll be dipped. You noticed it kind of sounded funny. Let me resolder that on. That should solve the problem. All right, so I had a weird problem with this thing. I've never experienced this before. I have an antenna that goes up. Well, maybe I'm looking at it. It goes through a lot of stuff and goes over the roof of my house. When I hooked it up to that antenna, this radio did not like it. Given the amount of transformers and tubes it has, I figured, let me just put a little short length of wire on it, see what it does. So that sounds a lot better. Likewise, I went to the museum because the eye tube was missing. Found a really good bright one. Let's see if it reacts. Let's see.
I don't know what's happening with your teeth. They should be low-cost option for those. Your stops. The way things have gone down low into this, just a small.
Seems like it's working okay. I do need to put a longer antenna wire on it. I've just got like a 1-foot antenna right now. Next, what I want to do, I hope this switch still works. I'm going to disconnect this weird switch here and connect a new cord. Well, turns out there was nothing wrong with that switch. I'm just kind of wondering if it got gummed up and the original owner didn't, or the person that last worked on it chose not to lube it up to get it resuscitated again, but it works just fine. I did run the audio in through the top of the volume pot, and that automatically cuts the radio signal off when we're not using radio.
And I know a spot right over the hill. There's soda pop and the dancing's free. So if you want to have...
That's going to sound a lot better in the cabinet, by the way. A lot of the speakers from this era kind of sound a little shrill. But when you put them in the cabinet acts like a guitar case, basically. You get some of your fidelity and your kind of like more deep tones. When it's out of the cabinet, it doesn't sound near as good. I want to do a little more cleaning up here. There's just some general filth going on with the dial glass. Some of this crap in there. Maybe I'll take the light bulbs out and clean them a little bit. But we seem like we're doing good. The transformer does not, it gets just a smidgen warm. I know it feels funny. I think I'm just overreacting. I feel like I feel juice on that. Let me do some measurement. Good bright and early morning. So I had to quit filming because I had a little bit of an issue. Like I said, I could feel a little bit of juice. You know, even if you're not grounded, you can just kind of feel if there's a little bit of electricity on a surface. Well, I took it over to my test rig yesterday, and on the 2 volts AC rating, our max threshold for anything that goes out of our shop is basically 0.6 of a volt, and I'm measuring 1.4169. Now, I was talking to one of our other techs last night, and what's interesting is that I remember last night this was measuring a little bit more than that. It was measuring 1.4, almost 1.42. Now it's 1.415. And the theory is two things. Either it's been in a damp environment in a basement, which is, you know, all this rust, and the transformer has gotten moisture in it, and that could cause some mild shorting. The other possibility is that I did spray the crap out of this with cleaner to disinfect it, and maybe I got something into the electronics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring this into my office where I can keep an eye on it, and I'm just going to keep it on for a while and let everything get nice and toasty. I might actually put it on a variac, and better yet, turn it upside down so if there's any moisture in here, then it's not going to like condensate on the underside of the bell housing. Instead it'll evaporate upwards, meaning if it's upside down, through the hole where the wires come out. And I'll just maybe run it at 50 or 60%, and I'll just maybe have that on for most of the day. And then I'll come out here at the end of the day and see if we've dropped it down any. Okay, so it's on about 50%. I'm just going to let it hang out here with me in the office. All right, time to get to work. If anything blows up, I'll be right here with the fire extinguisher in hand. Okay, well, here is the dealio. And I was thinking about this last night, actually, and I don't know why I didn't act on it sooner. I was thinking that I'd seen 2 large brown drops that were going to chassis ground from across the line here, and I thought, you know, if those are the wrong value, well, that could certainly cause an issue. And so these are both 0.068 microfarad caps. So you combine those values together, and what do you get? You get I'm not good at math at all, 1.3 something microfarads. No, it wouldn't be that high, I'm sorry. 0.13 microfarads. Damn it, I suck at math. Anyway, quite high, and that would give you an elevated amount of current potential getting to that chassis. So what's needed is we need to replace those with these 2 guys. These are 0.01, many magnitudes smaller, and we'll replace those guys. We do need to cross the line caps for sure, and so we're going to replace that, and then we'll test it again. I tested it without those caps, and it barely registers anything, so just adding those 2 caps probably won't do much of anything. Okay, so this is a huge improvement. It's barely 0.2 of a volt. That is many magnitudes less than it was. That's 3 times under our maximum threshold, so I don't feel that slight tingle anymore. Nothing. So we've neutralized the chassis. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to add an audio isolation transformer between this and the volume. That's going to boost the audio just a little bit, so we'll get a little more fidelity out of that speaker. This must be something wrong with me. I've been working on a absolutely rat-infested radio for 3 days, but whatever. It's going to live. But I think it's also a testament to how good a quality that Stromberg Carlson was. They made telephones and telephone equipment back in the day. I had the set running in my office for probably half the day, and the transformer did not really get that warm. So the transformer is actually in really good shape. And I have pretty good faith that the chassis is now going to play reliably without any issues, hopefully for a long period. So let's add that transformer and do an audio test, and then I think it's time to fit it back in the cabinet and attach the replacement knobs I found. All right, so we got the isolation transformer installed, and it's going to boost our audio a little bit. So now that everything's installed, we got all of our safety equipment installed. We have our safety caps, we have our transformer self-emulation preventer fuse, our isolation transformer, new cord, new caps. I did tweak the cans a little bit. It was a little bit out of alignment, but not bad. I think it's time to do some reassembly. I might clean the wood case just a little bit more. It's going to look like an old radio. It's not going to look great as far as the finish, but you know, whatever. It doesn't. Not all radios have to be perfect. It's 90 years old. Let it look like a 90-year-old radio for once. All right, she's all back together again. I have a confession to make. I was installing the iTube and I dropped it and I broke it. So I had to go back to the museum and get another one. And the other thing I realized is I'm going to ask the person who put the knobs away for this thing where they put them, because these are not the right knobs and I need a special knob here. So we got the knobs at the museum somewhere. But in the meantime, it does seem to work pretty well. Anyway, I'm going to attach an aerial antenna. Last thing, but the radio does work well. Anyway, here's the innards. It's looking much less infested than it was before. So I'm just going to let it sit here and play for a while, make sure that nothing blows up, even though I think we should be good. I don't know why I did this. I think I was looking for a distraction because I've got a bunch of other ordinary, boring AA5s to work on, and this is not in straight. Let me fix that. That's more like it. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of like the radio. Sometimes I feel sorry for these clunkers, and I want to get them up and running again. So there you go. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave down in the comments section down below, and I'll try my best to get to them. This set is going to be at one of our shows locally in the Bay Area, so if any of you guys have a yearning for either a very old-looking kind of physically beat-up radio, or if you have an interest in taking this home and maybe adopting it and refinishing it, but that can be arranged. Just send me a comment. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Until the next time something comes across the workbench, see you next time. Adios.
The dog sounds pretty when it's played by a jazz band.